Hey, hey, hey. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from whatever part of the world you're tuning in from. My name is Tracy Nauber, as usual, and I am your English expert for the IELTS exam. Now, I'm a postgraduate student at the School of Education in Trinity Western University, Canada, and I'm currently en route to a PhD in English. My academic training is on TESOL, that's teaching English to speakers of other languages just like yourself, and I used to mark the IELTS exam at the British Council. So, my daily nuggets are designed to tell you some of the things that I failed candidates for and basically to help you stay away from them. This week, we're on the writing module, my favorite part of the English language, and I'll be handling the topic, your writing tone, today. So, what is a writing tone? Tone. Tone is basically the way that you sound. So, it's the way that okay, let me use a description. When you go to do your groceries, right? They pack your groceries in either a brown bag or in a cellophane or a nylon bag. So your groceries are packaged in something, okay? Think of your writing tone as the bag used to, package your groceries. Is the bag clean? Is it neat? How does it look? Is it branded with the name of the supermarket where you got your groceries from? Does it look tush and luxurious, or does it look old, raggedy, and not fancy? And then your groceries, the things that you've bought, are the things that are inside the bag. So that's your writing. Your writing is housed in the tone. The tone helps us to know what way you are conveying the message. What way are you moving the groceries from the supermarket to your house? Are you moving it in a brown bag? Are you moving it in a white nylon bag? Are you moving it in a branded, recyclable bag? All of these things are metaphors for your writing tone. So I'm going to focus on this tip before I go into my lesson. And please listen very carefully. If you fail to plan, you have already planned to fail. Like, there's no mixing words here. You cannot build a house without a blueprint. An architect needs to be involved. They need to plan out the structure of the building. A structural engineer needs to do the designs, needs to make sure that everything fits before you actually start the brick and mortar and cement and sand and everything else. It's the same way with your writing. If you do not plan for your tone, you will miss it and your readers will go off in a different direction. Meanwhile, you want them to be in a certain direction. So, I'm going to focus on 3 popular types of tones. The type that you most likely encounter in your IELTS exam, depending on whether you're doing the academic training component or whether you're doing the general training component for the IELTS. There's the formal tone, there's the informal tone, and there is the mixture of the two. So your formal tone is when you are serious, like when you're, digging into something. A lot of business writing is done in this way. A lot of technical writing is done in this way. A lot of research writing is done in this way. A lot of scientific writing is done in this way. You have to be serious and convey a message like, I mean what I'm saying, no kidding. An informal tone, on the other hand, is when you're like, I can mean what I'm saying, I cannot mean what I'm saying, but I'm just relaxed, I'm comfortable, I'm good in my own skin, so I just want to convey that to you basically in my writing, how cool I am with you, with the situation, and with what I'm talking about. Now, a mixture of the two would be like a semi-formal kind of tone, so you're not very serious and you're not unserious. You're just somewhere in the middle, and the middle part is a bit tricky. But if you write often, like if you read more and more, and if you practice your writing often, then over time you'll be able to distinguish between the 3 types. So I'm going to say a little bit of each one and then zone in so we can tie this in real quickly before 10 minutes are up for today. For the formal tone, you're most likely going to have the type of tone that you have, for instance, on when you go to buy medicines at the pharmacy. Most medicine bottles come with a leaflet, like a pamphlet, something that's like a brochure that tells you how to use a product or how to administer a drug. The type of tone used in writing that is very serious, because the writer is basically telling you, if you do not follow what I'm saying, you will overdose yourself and you will die. There's no easier way to say that. Like, you cannot say that as a joke, because you don't want your reader to not take you seriously. You want them to be serious enough to read the leaflets and the instructions properly, so that they do the right thing and they help themselves with the drug instead of killing themselves with the drug. So to get a hint of this, just go into your medicine cabinet right now. If it's your multivitamins, whatever it is that you have, bring it out, go over it. However that piece of writing sounds, that's exactly what we mean in the IELTS exam when we say use a serious tone. Serious tone does not underscore that you are using language that is gigantic, verbose, and complicated. It means that you are using language that can be simple as well, but the way that you're mixing them, the way you're choosing the words, shows that you mean business. You're not kidding. Now we come to the informal type of tone. So the informal type of tone, it's right there in your phone. A lot of y'all do it every day. So, you're texting, you're sending messages on Instagram and Facebook and all of that. The way that you write to your friends, this is what we mean by the informal tone. You're casual. You don't really care if you make a mistake. Oh, on the IELTS, you should please care if you make a mistake. So your grammatical tenses, you want to watch out for that. Stay away from abbreviations in the IELTS exam, except you are describing an acronym. If you don't know what an acronym is where you use the first letters of a word in a sentence to create a word of itself. So UNESCO is an acronym because UNESCO means, it has its full, it has each of the words in that acronym word has a meaning of its own. So acronyms, you can use them, but aside that, do not abbreviate. There's so many things going on WhatsApp and social media these days. I mean, I am compelled to say one because this one just drives me nuts. So when people do am, instead of I apostrophe M, that's just mad. A lot of people mix I apostrophe M with AM. AM is what you use as a contracted form of I am. If you want to say I am coming, you say I am coming, or I apostrophe am. Why are you removing the I and starting the sentence with am? How does that even make sense? And guess what? It's creeping into your IELTS scripts, but y'all don't know it. You see, when you write in the wrong way with the wrong tone, what you're doing is you're training your brain to keep on doing these things. So my extra tip for today is, when you're using your phone for social media, at least until you've written and aced your IELTS exam, please try not to abbreviate. Write every single thing in full. Yes, I know it's difficult. Yes, I know it takes time. And yes, I know you have a lot of things to do, but you want to train your brain properly to do things in the right way. So an informal tone will contain flowery, playful language, but remember not to abbreviate on the IELTS, like I said, except you're working with an acronym. Now, a mixture of the two is where you have a little bit of the formal and a little bit of the a little bit more and then a little bit of the informal. So if you were doing an email to a colleague in the office, especially if that colleague is your subordinate, then I can say that the mixture, it would be a mixture, like a mixed tone. It wouldn't be very formal, rigid, but it can be an informal one, especially maybe if you're inviting that colleague to an after work event, or to an event that has to do with work, but then isn't so very serious as to that. We can go into that in detail in subsequent videos, but what I've been able to pull out from my lessons today for you is I want you to know that there are 3 types of tones you can use when you're writing the IELTS exam. You can use the formal tone, you can use the informal tone, and you can use a mixture of the two. Please remember that readers are writers. If you don't read, you can't write well. And can you kindly stay away from the abbreviations on social media? Stop abbreviating your words. That way you actually remember to write them in full when you're in the IELTS exam. I hope that helped. As usual, I'd like to invite you to my Q&A session on Instagram this Sunday. It's the 1st of November 2020, and I'll be answering all your IELTS related questions on Instagram from 7 p.m. West African time. That's GMT +1, so that's Greenwich Meridian time +1. To attend, all you have to do is follow English Expert for IELTS and tune in by 7 p.m. If you'd like to email your questions to me ahead of time, please send your email to englishexpertforielts@theonlinelady.com. I'll take it again, English expert for IELTS at theonlinelady.com. Thank you so much for tuning into my video today. Remember that we're social. We're everywhere on social media as English expert for IELTS. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.